Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this how to use texture paste with an embossing folder project. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well Anne-Marie, how can that possibly be? Well, the thing is, what we're going to do is something a little bit different. We're touching our toes into the mixed media projects now, and we're going from where we've done the stenciling at the beginning of the week, and we've just slightly progressed each day with something a little bit different. Today we've really sort of gone up a notch. You're going to want an embossing folder. Now I would say the first time you try this, use an embossing folder that you're not keen on, or an old one, or a broken one, because every texture paste is different. I know that the Embossing 3D texture paste will clean away from my embossing folders perfectly. I can't speak for any of the others, so I can only go by the ones I've used. So if you're using a different brand, just in case it ruins your embossing folder, use one, as I say, that's old, broken, or you just don't like. Not that you'd buy something that you don't like, but you know, sometimes you end up with them and you think, oh, I'm not keen on that one. So, not that I ever do, if my husband's listening. Everything I purchase I really love and really need and really want. So the texture paste we're using is the Embossing 3D texture paste by Aladdin. And this is the same brand that we've been using all week. Our embossing folder, we're going to open it up, and we're simply going to add texture paste. Now, this is such a simple process, but it's something that you might not have thought about doing, or wanted to do, or you've been scared to do. Now, it's a bit like using a stencil. We simply smear it on and make sure that it's a little bit thicker. Then we don't want to see that. I don't know if you can see. We don't want to see the pattern. We want it like we're covering the surface of a trifle. We don't want to see the underneath. Want it not too thick, but the thing is, it will dip into the debossed sections and it will dip on its own. So you want to smear it like a thick coating of butter. That's what I was trying to think of. And we're going to cover it all, and we're just being careful not to go over the edge. Just go slightly to the edge of the pattern, not the edge of the embossing folder. So now, I said we spread it like thick butter, or thick jam if you prefer, or margarine, or whatever your personal preference. Mine is butter. Good Yorkshire butter. Shouldn't say that really, but it is. So we spread that all over our embossing folder, and make sure we can't see the pattern as we go, and cover that section. And I think that will be about right. There we go. And now all we have to do is wait for it to dry. So by the magic of television, she says, here is one that's already dry. So this is our embossing folder with our texture paste that's now dried. Now, what you need to do is very carefully to peel this away. is use a non-sharp object on your embossing folder, and you simply go to the edge and you start just kind of peeling the edge away from the folder, and it should start moving and lifting, and as you go you peel it away quite carefully, and the texture will kind of stretch, but that's the whole purpose with mixed media. It's kind of different and going to be unique to your embossing folders. And if you've ever, this is going to sound terrible, but if you've ever had a face mask on, that, you know, one of the peel off ones, it's a little bit like having to do that. Some people find satisfaction from that, from peeling them off. So keep going slowly. Obviously ours has had overnight to dry. Don't go at it and rip it, and it will all come out together, and wait till you see the effect. It's the, well, I'm going to say it's the strangest thing. It isn't the strangest thing, but to think what you've done, the effect that you get, it's brilliant. So I've just got a hole in mine, I've just ripped it, getting too excited for you to be able to see it. There we go. And then that has pulled away from our embossing folder, and you can straighten it out. It's not wet anymore. Your embossing folder's clean. Give it a wash though. You've maybe get a few bits, but they will peel off because it's plastic. Okay, so this is what we're left with. I'm going to move this because it's maybe a bit distracting. So you're going to have to look at my messy mat, I'm afraid. So now I've just caught mine. Mine's just ripped a little, being honest. So I'm going to straighten it out. And it's kind of like a plasticky texture. It's I don't want to say it's like lycra, but it is slightly. And that is my mixed media piece using white texture paste and an embossing folder. Now what I could do is I could go on to use that. I could cut the individual pieces out, the elements, and use them on a card, or I could use it as it is. I could ink it, I could paint it, I could spray it, I could use it with mica powders, I could use it in so many different ways. Now if you imagine, I've used just a general swirl embossing folder for this, but if you imagine if you're making lace or something like that, that would look really cool for your different projects. So the other thing you could do is, instead of using a full embossing folder and adding you know, as a full sheet, you could use just pieces. Now these are some that I've done earlier using the brown embossing using the brown texture paste, and just peel them off nice and slowly and pull them out. They retain the shape and the pattern, and then you can use them with different embellishments, different things that you've already got in your stash. Well, I can peel this one off, and then you can see all of them, and then you can literally have a go. So you can either do a full sheet or just sections like that. And it's quite thin, and it's just like plastic. You can cut it like so. Just cut that piece off. Or you could pull it. I'm gonna obviously pull this section and just damage it, but you'll see the edge that you get. There we go. So you can pull it into pieces, or just do sections. So the choice is yours for actually using it with your embossing folders. So that's what we've done today, using this is actually a Sizzix swirl folder, and it's lost its top section. When you put it together, it doesn't meet. So test it on, you know, your old embossing folders first. Don't use your brand new ones, but then always wash them. You don't need to put anything special on them, but just remember to leave them overnight. We left ours overnight to dry, and then you saw what it was like when I peeled it out. So it's an amazing effect to play about with, and there's so many different things you can do with it once you've created your pieces, and it's just something a little bit different, something to try. And I just hope you've enjoyed it. Just going that little bit more advanced. So feel free to comment on my blog or on Facebook. If you've got anything to say, feel free. If you want to comment on YouTube, you can, but I can't reply to you on YouTube, unfortunately. I hope you enjoyed my mini-series. Tomorrow we're going to do the same with the embossing folders, but we're going to use 2 colours. We're going to do like a duo, so be prepared for that. That's quite cool. So I'd just like to say thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.